Hey garden friends, I'm Nikki from Proven Winners Direct, and I have 7 new beautiful plants to show you this week for Plant of the Day. We offer 1 great plant each day at an awesome discount, 7 different plants each day of the week at 35% off. So today I'm going to take you through all 7 plants. We have annuals, perennials, and shrubs. All of these will be available. If you find more than one that you love, you can make one purchase on Mondays from noon until 4 p.m. Eastern Time. Otherwise, each day the sale restarts at noon with a different pretty plant. So let's go check them out. Make sure if you're new to the channel, like and subscribe. That way you're going to be notified each week when we post a new video. We do this every Monday. 7 new great plants to show you. So excited, let's get into it. Our first plant of the day is Supertunia Picasso in purple. This one is one of my faves. The bicolor blooms are simply stunning. It's a real vigorous grower, just like most of our Supertunias. But look how many blooms are packed on this small plant. Like, it's obviously a little bit younger right now, but this thing is gonna explode. So I love that about Supertunias. It's packed with flower power. But anyways, the Picasso in purple, it grows to be about 12 inches tall, and it spreads about 2 feet, just like the majority of our Supertunias. It's gonna love a sunny spot. They're great in hanging baskets, in your combination planters, and even in the landscape. They are heavy feeders, so you're gonna wanna make sure that you're using water-soluble fertilizer at least once a week and watering deeply in between those feedings, especially in the heat of the summer. But Picasso is just one of those really great, versatile, eye-catching Supertunias. You can pair it with just about anything. I love it so much with like a Sweetheart Lime Ipomoea as the spiller. That lime green just pops off the edges of this bloom. Also, you can pair it with pinks, you can pair it with whites, you can pair it with other purples. It's super versatile and super, super gorgeous. Next up, we have Supertunia Honey, and this has become one of my ultimate favorites. I absolutely love the color, and it transforms. It's many colors. So obviously we have the beautiful yellow. There's some pink that comes through, and this amazing corally color. It's stunning when it's fully grown and fully filling out a container. I've been growing it for the past 3 years, and at first I wasn't really a huge yellow flower girl, but this plant won me over, and now I have yellow all throughout the garden. But it's stunning. I'm telling you, you have to see it to believe it. The pink and the coral that comes through is gorgeous. I went with this kind of like tropical smoothie vibe in my backyard this year, and honey is the star of the show. So as with all Supertunias, this is gonna grow to be about 12 inches tall. It's gonna fill in to be about 2 feet. So you can use it as a filler and a spiller in your containers. It pairs well with just about anything. My one recommendation is not to pair it with one of the Vista Supertunias. It's still a very vigorous grower and it keeps up great, but those Vistas, man, they can take out just about anything. So I tend to plant this with other varieties, Super Bells. I've done it with Nemesia before, or any other Supertunia. So like this year I have Honey and I have Bermuda Beach, and they're growing beautifully together. But it's just a super fun way to bring that happy, cheery feel to your space. And again, you can't top this color. Supertunia Honey. Next up, we have the curly whirly junus. Isn't this one fun? This works great in containers as a thriller, obviously adds some great texture. But this is a perennial in zones 5 through 9. So a little trick that I always do with trying out new perennials is I start them off in my containers, and then at the end of the season transition them into the ground so that they can come back the following year. The one thing to keep in mind about curly whirly is that it does like consistently moist soil. You can plant this around a water feature and stuff and it will be just fine. I have grown it with Super Bells, and Super Bells kind of like to dry out. I think it was 2 or 3 years ago. I kind of like to push the limits, which I don't always recommend if you don't have an understanding that it might not work, but that's kind of gardening. But it did okay. It did kind of dry out a little bit, but in the Super Bells held up. I probably watered them more than I normally would, but just a little tidbit of information. But if you can plant it in a place and with companion plants that do prefer a little bit more water, it'll stay nice and green for you and continue to grow. I noticed a little bit of stunted growth with mine. But it's gonna grow to be about 18 to 20 inches tall and wide. So as you can see, it's got a great spread. I love it as a thriller in a container just because it's super fun, but it grows in the ground really well too. So it's pretty versatile outside of needing to make sure that you're keeping it watered. And when mine would turn a little bit brown, you'd get some, you know, like with any grass that you get, you're gonna get some brown blades. I would just trim them off, and it was completely fine. So I'm trying to heed you with some caution, but also remind you that it's gardening, it's pretty easy. You kind of can't go wrong, and you can use it in multiple different ways. Start it in your pot and put it in the ground later so it'll come back next year. So curly whirly junkus. Next up we have a new rose. It's the Oh So Easy Peasy. It comes by its name quite honestly. This was new last year, and it's already been awarded by the American Rose Society for its disease resistance. That's what I love so much about the Oh So Easy line of roses. We've all grown different roses, and at my own personal experience, they're kind of the hardest for me to take care of, probably because they just require me to do something, right? But the Oh So Easies are in fact oh so easy. What I love most about the Easy Peasy is this gorgeous bloom. So it's not like what you're used to, which would be like one solid big bloom. It's these clusters of these gorgeous pink blooms. And I'm telling you what, I got to see them in the trial gardens at Spring Meadow Nursery. And there was this beautiful hedge of them, and they were carpeted in this pink bloom. It was stunning. So I actually got to plant one in my own garden this year, and I'm super excited about it. So again, huge on the disease resistance. You really don't have to worry about spraying these, fooling with them a whole lot. Of course, like all roses, they love a good full sun spot. They stay pretty nice and compact. They're about 3.5 to 4.5 feet tall and wide, so they've got a really nice, tidy habit. And again, carpeted in these gorgeous blooms. You don't have to deadhead these. They're gonna keep blooming, keep pushing out that magnificent color without a whole lot of work. And that is my ultimate favorite thing about Proven Winners plants. So give it a try, the Oh So Easy Peasy Rose. Next up, we have the Limelight Prime Panicle Hydrangea. This is a perfect example to explain one of the great things about Proven Winners and how they grow plants. So Limelight Hydrangea has been a huge top-selling hydrangea for many years, right? So they made it better. That's what's so great. It's like they could have just let Limelight do its thing, but they're like, hey, everybody loves this one, let's make it better. They always have us gardeners in mind when they are creating and coming up with new plants, and it is one of my most favorite things. So without further ado, the Limelight Prime. It is the improved version of the original Limelight hydrangea, which is actually one of my absolute all-time favorite hydrangeas. I don't have a whole lot of that's my favorite. Limelight is. So this is even better. It blooms earlier than the original Limelight. It has brighter, bolder blooms, stronger, sturdier stems, and a smaller size. So I have Limelights planted at home. I don't have a Prime yet, but it's smaller. It only gets to be about 4 to 6 feet. So if you're tight on space and you're looking for a hydrangea that blooms a little bit sooner, Limelight Prime is your girl. They are super easy to care for. I cannot say enough about panicle hydrangeas. Don't be afraid to grow hydrangeas. If you're growing a panicle, they are foolproof. They grow in part to full sun. In a northern climate, I have mine planted in full sun from sun up to sundown, and they tolerate it super well. My mom actually has a hedge of them as well, and she is like out in the country. So it's got the harshest elements, full sun beating on them all day, very dry, lots of wind. They tolerate it like a champ. You just can't go wrong. So if you have not tried a hydrangea before, I highly recommend the Limelight Prime. Next up, we have the Sugar Tip Rose of Sharon. And my most favorite thing about this shrub is the variegated leaves. I love variegated leaves. So as you can see, it's got this creamy white along the outer edge, and then like a blue-green foliage color. So it's simply stunning. So it's great because even before it blooms, it's got some good garden interest to go for that. So this one's got a bunch of baby buds on it. I can't wait. They're gonna open up to be the most pure pink bloom you've ever seen. They're double blooms, so they're fluffy in the center and just a gorgeous shade. It's stunning. It just pops off this blue-green foliage. So this is a really compact Rose of Sharon. It's about 5 to 6 feet tall and wide, so it's got a really nice tidy habit. It has that same elegance that we love about hibiscus shrubs. It's going to blow in the breeze, add great texture and movement to the garden. And they're easy. They're super easy. They're deer resistant. The pollinators love them when they're in bloom. Love the sun, so you can't go wrong with finding an overly sunny spot. They'll eat that up. So they are hardy in zones 5 through 8. The one thing that I always try to tell people about Rose of Sharon's, especially if you're in a cold climate, is that they are what I call a spring sleepyhead. So they are a little bit late to wake up in the garden. Right now I have a white pillar growing, and it's got a nice mound of beautiful foliage, but it takes a while. So this one you kind of have to be a little bit patient for, but it's always worth the wait. Sugar Tip Rose of Sharon. Our next plant of the day is lemon coral sedum. This has been a top-selling annual for many, many, many years, and for many, many good reasons. It is heat and drought tolerant. It has an amazing chartreuse green color. It's going to spread and fill out in an amazing ground cover way. It also works super good in containers. It spills over the edges, adds that beautiful texture that we are looking for to draw the eye in, and it kind of looks like it would be tough and prickly, but it's actually really super soft. I love the foliage. It's tough as nails. I actually have some in the ground that came back for me. Technically it's not supposed to, it's considered an annual in our zone, but it comes back. It's hardy, it's tough. You could move it and it would still be fine. It's one of those reliable annuals that you can count on. It's going to spread about 1.5 feet. It doesn't get very tall, about 10 inches tall, but it's that nice, beautiful ground cover. And I'm telling you what, that color, you can see it from the street. It's absolutely stunning. Lemon coral sedum. That wraps up episode 2 of Plant of the Day. I hope that you learned something new today, or even just found something that you absolutely love. There is still plenty of time to plant, garden friends. I plant all summer long. Perennials and shrubs, even if you're a warm climate, they are hardy enough. If you're replenishing your containers and you need some extra annuals to add in for fill, plenty of time to still plant. So take advantage of these great discounts. Again, all 7 plants that you saw today are on a discount, 35% off from 12 until 4 p.m. today. And then each day the plant will change at 12 p.m. Eastern time. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you next week. Happy planting.